talking to us tonight.
Thanks a lot, Carrie.
20 quid
Cheerio. In London. Pierce, you're going to do another song for us.
Yeah.
This is one from Songs from Sun Street.
That's right, that's our new record.
And where do you get the inspiration for these songs?
Well,
I mean, if we were to talk about the actual writing of the songs, as Fiona says, they travel.
Yeah, well,
and they're understood everywhere.
Tuam. Tuam's basically Tuam and the people the west of Ireland, like their language, the characters, the stories they tell. And I mean, it's not academic, you know what I mean? It's just, it's taking a simple story and making a nice song out of it. And it seems to get to people, like.
And when it actually comes to writing them down, who does the writing?
Well, the next song we're actually going to do, Good News. The day that happened in Tuam, Porrick, our friend, Porrick Stevens, who came in with us in the album, we were all sitting around, we all went off different places for lunch. Davey went to his mother's in Joseph Park. He came back down. Would he hear this? Just give me the good news. And that was the chorus. So we all sat on the couch and
work the rest of it
about
into
3 or 4 hours later, it was recorded, yeah.
Okay, you're going to play it for us now, ladies and gentlemen. Good news.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I watched the news at 6 o'clock. Made me want to cry. The ocean's all polluted. We've damaged all the sky. There's wars and rumors, and a hungry baby cries. And still we have to suffer some politicians' lies. Oh, give me the good news. Yeah, yeah. You can keep the bad, just give me the good news. Yeah, yeah. The happy, not the sad. Oh, your money, it never goes far enough these days. The rich just getting richer. Poor man always pays. The postman brings the bad news. The bills come through the door in those greedy little envelopes. Always wanting more. Oh, give me the good news. You can keep the bad, just give me the good news. The happy, not the sad. You take the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and you roll them into one. Give me the two sides of the story, the mirror and the sun. Put away the misery, put away the gun. And it's been a hard old century. There's a better one to come, cause this is the good news. You can keep the bad, this is the good news. The happy, not the sad. Go on, Leo. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, give me the good news. You can keep the bad, just give me the good news. The happy, not the sad. Give me the good news. You can keep the bad, or give me the good news. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh.
Well done, lads. Good news from the new album, Songs from Sun Street. Now, when people talk about the success of the Saw Doctors, the names they cite most often along the way are Mike Scott of the Waterboys, former manager Pádraig Brannagh, you can clap for them all, and of course current manager Ollie Jennings. All three are with us tonight, and indeed Pádraig Stevens, who started the band.
Well, the lads were practicing in Leo's bedroom, and I just came back from London and joined in and played the drums with them.
For how long, Pádraig?
For how long? I played for about a year, I suppose.
And do you miss it now when you see them heading off to the Albert Hall and Australia and places like that?
Well, there's an odd twinge, but I have a good time as well.
You have a good time in the audience anyway. Pádraig Brannagh with the red t-shirt, just so we can identify you. You were the one who first actually heard them perform and decided that they should start playing gigs.
Well, I was delighted that you mentioned I was their former manager, because I'm hoping to see them in the High Court soon.
A lot of money to be made on us.
On a matter of £4 pounds or more. You know. But I met the lads in Galway, and I met Pádraig. Remember, a long time before I met these young pups, I met old Pádraig, and they were talking about bobbing music and creating a new music with the West of Ireland, a new identity in music with the West of Ireland, and all this chat was going on. Next thing, the boys showed up, got a few gigs for them, they did well, then they sacked me.
Well, were you the first one to set up a kind of a residency for them in the Keith Bar? How did that come about?
They played at Moffin's party one night, and they were really good. And they asked me, could I get a few gigs together? And I said, I'll go down and ask Sean on the keys. Sean used to run the keys at the time. And Sean had done any live music at that time. He said, I will give him 100 quid, put him in the back room there every Tuesday night. Fair enough, off we went, you know. That's the math of the 4 score pound. There was 4 gigs and I was over £20 from each one of them.
And listen, did you rent a crowd? Is there any truth in that rumor
Well,
that you brought your
at
own
the time,
supporters
there
along?
always is, there was a great gang of young women in Machnas, and we invited them all to come down. They knew the chorus from a Machnas party, Stone Walls and the Grass is Green. Did a small rehearsal before we went in, and as soon as the song comes on, we started rocking, Stone Walls, the Grass is Green. And then everybody thought these were the biggest bands around, like, and somebody was singing the chorus in their first gig, you know what I mean? Like,
And were you surprised at how well that worked out?
well, I had been taught not to think about audience management by Ollie Jennings the years previously. They'd done and toured in America, you know, so I had an inkling of how to go about it. It was just build up a buzz, build up an energy. But there was no need for it, really. They were great, you know. It was a bit superfluous.
It always worked. Mike Scott, that's where you actually saw them first, in the Keys Bar, with the rent-a-crowd. So it was actually quite a plot, you know.
Didn't rent
You
me.
didn't, yeah, but you didn't realise that it was all contrived to look good.
Yeah.
How did you think, or what did you think of them that first night?
I was struck by the fact they wore football strips on stage. I thought this
was
showed
so
a sort of
uncool.
innocence. And I remember the song that got me was I Used to Love Her, the chorus of it, My Lovin' Is All Gone. And I thought, that's a #1. And I tried to convince them. And over many months I worked on them, telling them that song's a #1. You could be the Irish Beatles. You should go for it.
Well, you actually brought them on tour with yourself and the Waterboys, who were hugely successful at the time. Was that a risk, or was it something that you actually felt was worth doing?
Oh, it was no risk. I knew they were a good band, and you know we needed every band that goes on tour as a support group. So I went out to Galway and tried to find them. They were doing a TV show at the Claddagh Palace with you, and I asked them to do the gigs. And actually, Pádraig here, he said, "We'll pencil it in."
I got a free pencil, which I keep as a souvenir.
That you used on the date in question. What are you at yourself now, Mike? Are you
I'm a
writing?
solo artist, and I'm working on songs for my next record
And when will we see that, do you think?
next year. Thanks
stuff.
for asking.
No, you're welcome. We'll have you back on the programme. Ollie Jennings, we have to come to you. The manager of the moment. The man who has taken them to the Albert Hall and halfway around the globe as well.
We've had a good run at it. I mean, I look at it as kind of an adventure. I left working in the Arts Festival mainly just to kind of travel and see a bit of the world. And luckily, it all happened for us. About 3 months after I started working with them, we had a #1 hit. As I say, the adventure keeps going. We're going to be in a film, or we're going to America in November, and we've got a part in a small budget film in New York. So there's lots of different things happening.
You're being very humble there now, because your small budget film was reported in the papers as a multi-million-dollar film. Which is it? Be honest.
Well, they're buying. I was just on to them today. They wanted our sizes of our clothes because they want to outfit us properly. We're a struggling band in New York, and we're spotted by an A&R guy. It's kind of like a commitment story, I suppose.
What are your plans for the future, Annie, for the band? Do you make plans, or do you just kind of wait for it to happen and go along with it as it does?
We're a little kind of cottage industry at the minute. We have our own record label. We were with the big Warner Brothers, and they tried to form us like the Pogues, but of course we've better teeth than Shane MacGowan, so we didn't really fit the bill. So they dropped us, and we formed our own record label. And a lot of my time, for instance, is taken up with that. I've become a bit of a businessman, unfortunately. I mean, it's a long way from putting up posters during the Arts Festival in the early days. We have a new record out. We got it to 24 in the UK charts on the first day of release.
Which is no mean feat.
It's been released in America in November. We're going to Australia to do an Irish Fleadh festival in Melbourne and Sydney in February and March.
So it's all hugely impressive.
There's a lot. I mean, we're just on the go. We're on the road. We're 10 years going, and we're still like people said it'd never last, and here we are.
Well, listen, continued success with it, Ollie Jennings. Now let's meet another of Galway's most famous citizens. This is a man immortalised in a Saw Doctors song. He is best known for his work as a politician, but he is also a published poet. Tonight he reads one of his own pieces called Relatives Assisting. Will you please welcome Michael D. Higgins, TD.
A room in the house and a seat in the car to mass. That was the promise made in wills to look after those who did not travel, but chose instead to ride high Nelly bicycles to church on Sundays, where they knelt in the women's aisle and listened to visiting missioners thunder about the sins of the flesh, and how Queen Elizabeth had died rolled in a ball, in agony, screaming for the true church. It was too late, of course, and it was a good feeling for even a little while to be pure. The child of Mary medal was a great consolation, and would travel with them to the grave, and in the room guaranteed you could prepare your black and save shillings from sales of eggs and butter for porter at your wake. Relatives assisting, they called you on the forms. You had no acres, no lovers, no children, but you had what was more important, a room in the house and a seat in the car to mass. And in the meantime, your High Nelly bicycle and your prayers.